At times, Fleetwood Mac has been less of a band and more of a soap opera set to music. The band is more than a musical powerhouse. It's a perfectly dysfunctional family whose stories feel ripped from a Shakespearean tragedy. Their 1977 album, Rumours, may be one of the most celebrated records in history, but it is also a raw account of the personal and professional chaos that unfolded during its creation. And at the centre of it all were Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham, two individuals locked in a complicated relationship that would shape not just their careers, but their lives. To understand why Go Your Own Way cuts so deeply for Nicks, it's necessary to go back to the beginning.
You and Lindsey would still be together?
I think had we not moved from San Francisco to LA, both of us feel that we would have gotten married and stayed there. And we also believe that we would have still been famous.
Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham's love story began in California in the 1960s when the two met in high school.
When I was a junior in high school up in Northern California, she transferred into my high school as a senior. She did play guitar, and she and I interacted slightly on a musical level at a couple of social events. And then she moved on and went to college, and I stayed behind and finished high school.
It wasn't exactly a whirlwind romance. In fact, Nicks initially resisted Buckingham's advances, and it wasn't until later that their connection truly blossomed. They became a couple and quickly found themselves partners in music as well. The pair formed a band, Fritz, before branching off to record their own album as Buckingham Nicks. The record didn't make waves commercially, but it caught the attention of Fleetwood Mac, who were looking to replace their guitarist at the time. Buckingham agreed to join, but only on the condition that Nicks could come too. And so, in 1975, Nicks and Buckingham joined Fleetwood Mac, completing the lineup that would go on to achieve global fame. The chemistry was immediate. Their addition brought an irresistible spark to the band's sound, blending Buckingham's razor-sharp guitar work and Nicks's ethereal presence with the established talents of Christine McVie, John McVie, and Mick Fleetwood. Hits like Rhiannon and Landslide propelled them to new heights.
And I saw my reflection, snow-covered here.
Behind the scenes, however, cracks were already forming. By the time Rumours began taking shape in 1976, those cracks had become gaping fissures. Nicks and Buckingham's relationship was crumbling under the weight of their success, as was the marriage of John and Christine McVie. Mick Fleetwood, for his part, was also navigating personal upheavals, including the eventual dissolution of his own marriage. What made Fleetwood Mac unique, and arguably what fueled their success, was their refusal to leave these emotions off stage or out of the studio. Every hurt, betrayal, and heartbreak was funneled into their music. The result was an album that spoke to millions precisely because it was so raw and unfiltered. Songs like The Chain captured the group's collective defiance and unity, even as their personal lives were falling apart. But it was the individual tracks that provided the clearest glimpses into their inner turmoil. Christine McVie's You Make Loving Fun chronicled her blossoming romance with the band's lighting director, while Nicks's dreams explored the bittersweet aftermath of her breakup with Buckingham. For Buckingham, the outlet was Go Your Own Way, a song that distilled his anger, frustration, and lingering resentment into 3.5 minutes of blistering rock.
You can go your own way, go your own way.
Saying, hey, I'm resigned to whatever happens, but, it's a damn shame. It's not what I want.
For Nicks, Go Your Own Way wasn't just painful, it felt like a betrayal. The lyric, "Packing up, shacking up is all you want to do," hit her like a slap. It was a lie, she later said, plainly. He knew it wasn't true, it was just an angry thing that he said. The implication that Nicks was promiscuous, or even careless with love, felt particularly unfair to someone who had poured so much into their relationship. "I loved him before he was a millionaire," she explained in an interview years later. "We were just two kids trying to make it work. I took care of him, I took care of us, To be reduced to that one line, it was cruel.
Songs that he wrote about me were horrifying. You know, go your own way. Go your own way is a nice way to say a really worse thing, you know. And, you know, shacking up is all you want to do, which was not true.
The cruelty wasn't just in the lyric, but in the way Nicks was forced to confront it repeatedly. Fleetwood Mac's success meant that the song became a staple of their live performances. Night after night, she stood on stage, harmonizing with a song that dragged her heartbreak into the spotlight. The emotional toll was immense. When we play something like Go Your Own Way, of course, it takes me right back to when we broke up, she admitted in 2003. That never goes away. And yet, for all the pain it caused, Nicks knew that the song, and the album as a whole, was bigger than her personal feelings.
And I had to listen to him sing that on stage every night. And he'd look at me when he'd say it. And I would just be going, you know, don't look at me when you say that. The tender love song that you wrote for me, you know, it's how mean.
Rumours went on to sell over 40 million copies, becoming one of the best-selling albums of all time. It resonated with audiences because it was so deeply personal, so unflinchingly honest. The tension and heartbreak that fueled its creation were also what made it timeless, but the scars of that time never fully healed. In live performances during the 1970s, Nicks and Christine McVie occasionally sabotaged the song, altering harmonies, messing with the timing, or deliberately throwing Buckingham off his game. It was a small, petty form of revenge, but one that spoke volumes about the emotional toll the song had taken. Decades later, Buckingham would reflect on the difficulties of navigating their breakup within the band. "We were professional, but it wasn't easy," he said. "You're trying to create something together while dealing with all this personal baggage. It's like walking a tightrope."
You know, it was about choices. It was about saying, well, I'm hurting from Stevie, here she is, she needs me to do this. I guess I could do a crappy job, or I could do the job I know I can do. What's the choice? And so you try to make the right choices.
For Nicks, the weight of those experiences shaped her artistic identity. While Buckingham often channeled his emotions into sharp, biting lyrics, Nicks turned to introspection. Her song Silver Springs, originally intended for Rumours but cut from the final tracklist, was her own response to their breakup. Its exclusion from the album was another source of tension, but the song found new life in later years. During the band's 1997 reunion for the dance, Nicks performed Silver Springs,
Tell myself you never loved me.
with a raw intensity that left no doubt about its origins. Singing directly to Buckingham, she delivered the line, "You'll never get away from the sound of the woman that loves you," with such force that it became one of the most memorable moments of the performance. The dynamic between Nicks and Buckingham has remained a focal point of Fleetwood Mac's story, even as the band's lineup has shifted over the years. Buckingham's departure in 2018 marked the end of an era, though it was hardly a surprise. The tensions between him and Nicks had been simmering for decades, and by that point, they were beyond repair.
That she gave them an ultimatum, either Lindsay goes or I go.
Yeah.
And it would be like something as absurd as Mick Jagger saying, either Keith goes or I go, you know. I guess we need the singer.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Nicks has continued to perform Fleetwood Mac's songs in her solo shows, but she draws a clear line when it comes to Go Your Own Way. It's not just a song she avoids, it's a chapter she's unwilling to reopen. Reflecting on her relationship with Buckingham, Nicks has said, "I'll always care about him, but it was a different time, a different life. We've both moved on. And yet, the music remains, a permanent record of their shared history, their love, and their heartbreak. It's what makes Fleetwood Mac so enduring, so endlessly fascinating. Their songs are more than just melodies and lyrics. They're confessions, arguments, and reconciliations, all set to music. They remind us that art is often born from chaos, and that sometimes the most beautiful creations come from the most painful experiences. For fans, Go Your Own Way is a classic, a fiery anthem of independence and resilience. For Stevie Nicks, it's something far more complicated. It's a reminder of a love that once was, a hurt that never fully healed, and a story that continues to define her. Some songs are cathartic, others are haunting. For Nicks, this one is both, and perhaps that's what makes it so unforgettable.